Good afternoon, good evening, and good day. And my name is SwiffyD, and you're here for the first episode of the StandPoint Gaming Podcast. Joining me here today is one of the co-founding members, Foromorian.
I'm Foromorian. Hey, how's it going, guys?
Well, it's great to hear you. So again, we're here to introduce StandPoint Gaming as a gaming community. Foro will be speaking on the behalf of StandPoint Gaming, letting us know the ins and outs, what they'd like from people who are joining, and the games and content which they play. Let's start with what StandPoint Gaming is.
Well, StandPoint Gaming is a gaming community centered around lots of different games, but mostly just community. We're here to have fun, talk to people, get to know everybody, and do these wonderful broadcasts to update you guys.
Are there any specific games that you would like to let everyone know that we're focused on at the moment?
Right now, we are focusing on some future games, them being Call of Duty Ghosts. We're also going into the Watch Dogs, the Division. We are also doing Titanfall. No, all these games haven't been released yet, so right now we are kind of in a holding pattern. But trust me, we'll keep you entertained.
Well, it's great to hear because especially with a lot of these next gen games coming out now. Will there be a main focus on PC, or will it develop into consoles as well?
It's most likely going to stick to PC. We are also going to be podcasting PC hardware things. A lot of people in the community right now, we build our own PCs, we make them work, we overpower, we overclock, and we make it awesome.
It's great to hear that the average and above for hardware enthusiasts would be welcome amongst the community. Okay, so we've talked about the basic content and future content for StandPoint Gaming, but are there any rules or structures to the community?
Of course, with any community and group of people, you always have some indirect rules or direct rules. What we're looking here at StandPoint Gaming is anybody who is a mature adult. We prefer 18 or over. We, like I said, gotta be open-minded, no discrimination, no racism, stuff like that. You know, the common sense rules. We have them posted on the website right now. And I even used the word common sense. Please follow along. Anyway.
And speaking of website, that website is www.standpointgaming.com.
Very true. That it is.
Now, again, so we've gone over basic rules, content, future plans. Now, I want to talk about a little bit of the future of this podcast. This podcast, although it's a very slimmed down, very introductory right now, we will be going into gaming news, talking about games that we're playing, as well as future content and whatnot. It's a very slimmed down version right now because this is our first initial podcast.
And now, we're not even going into...
Go ahead.
We're not even going into the depths of gaming. We're going to the depths of your soul.
The inner workings of your very being.
Sort of.
Now, for those who would like to become a member of StandPoint Gaming and join this community, as well as maybe become a future voice on this podcast, what do they need to do to join up?
Well, good yes here, Swiffy. What they need to do is they need to go to www.standpointgaming.com and they need to hit that little register link on the top. Once you register, we will go over what we got here for you, what we could do. No, it is a community where, we might put games in there when the future ones come out. Right now, if you want to join us, you're here to have fun. Kind of like a holding pattern right now. And when I say holding pattern, I don't mean we're not going to go in a different direction. We're going to go in a lot of directions.
All over the place. Cover everything.
All over the place.
Like an explosion.
Yes.
Everything from new MMOs like WildStar to new first-person shooters and third-person shooters like The Division and Call of Duty Ghost.
And we're even looking at Elder Scrolls Online here too.
Break out that new, maybe Ever Scrolls next?
No, that's EverQuest next.
There, see, that's what I have other people here for. Fix me.
Sorry. I can't fix you. You're too broken.
Okay, so we're gonna end up talking about Call of Duty Ghosts today, along with Terraria and a bit of the Division at the end. But we're gonna focus on Call of Duty Ghosts to start with. For this debate, debate, conversation, and discussion, we'll be having Foro. Along with joining us now is MrBlazzar.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
So, in case for those who don't know, Call of Duty Ghost is the newest rendition into the Call of Duty series. It is being made by Infinity Ward and will be released alongside the next-gen consoles in November. So first, the big issue is one of the biggest issues that have been brought up with this game is its on-the-fence attitude towards dedicated servers.
Definitely.
Yeah. Some for, some against. News seems to be there's not really a general consensus. Most people say there is going to be dedicated servers, not just for the Xbox One, but for everyone else. Some people say otherwise. Now, what has caused this on-the-fence attitude?
Well, it's kind of been the market so far. I mean, with Call of Duties, they've kind of. I mean, with every Call of Duty that's came out so far, it seems like they either haven't done it since Call of Duty 4, or we had to twist their arm about it as a PC community.
Yeah, like it's not. We expect dedicated servers as a PC community, but it seems to be so hard to get them to convince them to do it. First, it was okay. We'll do dedicated servers, but only ranked, and we'll host them for you. But people don't want that. People want to host their own servers.
Right. And for the most part, it's a hacker deterrent, really. There's so many hackers out there. Well, not so many, but to have a community run and clean its own hacking population is something that PC communities really like because, let's face it, hacking's more accessible on the PC.
Yeah, and I mean, like, they're not coming just right out of school. You can't protect them from everything. There's going to be bullies and other people, bigger people than them, that are going to break their code and bust in and change things. If you put a deterrent in place, someone's just going to find some way to change that. And
Right.
then that leads to stuff like modded servers that aren't controlled by the developer.
Right.
And I understand that consoles are more harder, if not impossible, to make a server dedicated like that for yourself. Like you can't just boot up your PC one day and start running an Xbox server. But yeah, any thoughts from you two?
I like to chime about the dedicated server thing. I mean, it's a hacker deterrent. That's the thing. You can always change it. It's always by the developer. There's not going to be modded or anything. It's always going to be standard gameplay, vanilla, if you want to call it that. But if you can also say that you don't need dedicated servers on the PC most of the time if you have a strong community. If you look at Battlefield 3, for example, they don't have dedicated servers. It's all hosted by the community, and there's very few hackers, if any, because the hosted servers have very strong and active admins and just protection from that thing that constantly destroys hackers. So, I mean, yes, dedicated servers would be nice, but if you have a strong enough community that would get behind it, you don't really need dedicated servers for a PC game shooter, because Call of Duty is massive, so I can guarantee you there would be plenty of player-run servers that would be perfectly fine.
Now, I think I should clarify for those who might not, for what a dedicated server actually is. Dedicated servers refer to not only on the system side for servers dedicated to hosting the game on the developer's end, but it also refers to me downloading a server client for my computer and hosting that. That is also a dedicated server.
As well, yes.
Very true. And I've been looking at some of the game mods, and this is kind of a reference here, but if anybody's ever played Global Agenda, now I don't want you thinking, hey, we're just going to sit there and shoot a whole bunch of guys over and over and over and over and over again. Not like that. But some of the game types they're putting out, some of the AIs and the squad system and the clan system they're coming out with, it's not an MMO, but it's really reminded me of some of the structure Global Agenda kind of put forth.
Well, that's Call of Duty Elite, giving more and more connectivity in the community that is Call of Duty, giving stuff like clan warfares and setting up your own clan sites with videos streamed straight from your game.
Yep.
Community goals and whatnot.
It looks like they're really kind of stepping up the competitive gaming market. You know what I'm saying? Some of those MLG guys are going to be real happy about that, I think.
I I don't want to sound like a Debbie Downer, but I think it's just them trying to add more sparkle and community-ness to their game so it doesn't die off.
True.
Because, in my personal opinion, the Call of Duty series is dying off now. It's not anywhere near as popular as it was last year. Sales figures can confirm that, where it's got like 80% less pre-orders going.
Very true. Very true. I can agree with that and get on board with that. What it looks like they're trying to do is they are trying to make the community a little stronger with their game. Just by the game types, you're connecting more with your fellow player than you were in, say, Modern Warfare 2 or even some of the other ones. Like, it's at that point now where you and your friends are the squad, and your squad levels up, and they get a commander and everything. It opens up a whole new scene for it.
Now, I'd like to talk a little bit about the 9 versus 9 multiplayer. Do you think this will be just for consoles? Because I understand that consoles, they're a more limited space, even though the next-gen consoles will be by far an improvement than the last generation. But do you think sticking to a 9 versus 9 environment will progress it forward, or will it create a tighter gaming experience?
I think it will create a tighter gaming experience. I saw on another one they're also doing 6 versus 6 also, and I think the lower the number you go, if any of you guys, if anybody here has ever played speedball and paintball, it's kind of like that. You start off at your line, you turn around, you just go at it, and it's kind of like a team deathmatch, like say the old Counter Strike used to do. You hit, you're out.
Yeah.
And I think competitively that is definitely a good way to go. It's a very balanced kind of game.
Whereas, so Call of Duty Ghosts is more the confined SWAT-based, team-based mechanics, whereas something like Battlefield 4 will be the giant, like, 32-on-32 war maps.
Oh yeah. Also, on top of that, they're actually putting out some phone apps too, that you can communicate with your clan, roll people up, and I see in the future they're probably going to be doing a lot more with the phone apps also.
Yeah, the industry is definitely leaning more and more towards smartphone and tablet integration with stuff like Microsoft Smart Glass. You can look up TV shows even and whatnot that you're viewing through HBO and stuff on your Xboxes.
Definitely, and I don't think it's going to be one of those things where it's either the PC or the tablet. I think the tablet's going to be with the PC. I think it's going to create a greater experience for everybody.
Going to move all into one thing.
Yep.
So that's our conversation on Call of Duty Ghosts. Let's move into talking about a game that Blazer and I put quite a few hours into. The new Terraria 1.2 update. Now, this update basically just added on to the end game content of the game, but also changed some of the basic fundamental mechanics of the game by changing up ores, changing up the corruption for the Crimson, as well as adding new bosses and weapon mechanics. We actually burned through this update in about 3 days, but don't make that sound like it's a small amount of content. We just played it for about like 10 hours a day over the period of 3 days.
That bit crazy.
Yeah, just a tiny bit.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean the bosses weren't challenging. Like, we definitely hit hurdles. We had to build one of us up as a giant tank using new armors. And overall,
that was probably another thing, because we got some of the new armors that are N tier really quickly, more quickly than I thought, because it's a 1% drop rate for the items you need. So we got that rather quickly for what we should have got.
I'm just a lucky at. Yeah, so with that update, it added new biomes for the map generation. There's new monsters. It really led to creating a better experience. I've always been Terraria versus Minecraft. If you're looking for more of the adventure and growing aspect of a voxel game like that, you pick Terraria. It's definitely the one that you will spend more time leveling up your gear, getting new items and stuff. just as an example for how many items it increased, I think the basic item load in the Terraria 1.1 was about 600 and something items, whereas now it's about 1,600 items. So
yes, 1.2 added
1,600.
about 1,000 items, and most of that, the reason that we also burn through fastly is a lot of it is also new building blocks, new things to create new structures, new like great creations. And me and Swiffy just really weren't into the building. We just wanted to see how the new end game was working.
Yeah, that is. Again, I prefer to build more in Minecraft than in Terraria. Terraria is where I go to get my adventure fix in a side-scrolling manner.
Side-scrolling.
Yeah, it's like I recommend it if you want to. It's not really expensive. It's like $5 on Steam most of the time. Pick it
I know
up.
this.
It's one of those games you could pretty well stay entertained with for a while. How's the replayability on it?
At the end game stuff, like at the very end, unfortunately, you do kind of run out of stuff to do. It leads more into the building aspect because once you have everything, you have everything.
Swiffy.
But
You
me?
don't know. There's been recent news from the guy who put out 1.2, or Redigit, however you want to say it. He's actually within, I think it's 2 to 3 more months, could be 4. He's gonna put out a new update to finish rounding out the end game, and while he works on the new Terraria that he wants to release in a long time. He hasn't put release date for that, of course. He's just started working on that. So within 2 to 3 months, maybe 4, we'll have another update to finish the end game for this game, as well as a few Halloween updates he said he's going to add as well.
So there we go.
There's even more content.
Confirmed by MrBlazzar. 1.2.1 update plus Terraria 2. We'll have it in the future. And if we don't, we can blame Blazer.
Hey man, I read that on a website somewhere. I gotta go find it. I don't care. But yeah, it was said he's gonna release rounding end game within 4 months. So by now it's in 3 to 4 months, and then he's working on Terraria 2. So yeah, there you go.
There we go, Terraria. Pick it up. Steam. Fun. Happy fun. Now, we're going to move into a conversation that I believe Faro is just shaking his chair wanting to talk about. We're going to talk about The Division and how it's going to affect the content here at StandPoint Gaming.
Yay!
Yeah. Happy little bugger, isn't he? So a little overview of The Division. Division is a Ubisoft game that was announced at, I believe, E3 of this past year by Ubisoft, which, again, they've decided to steal the E3 show. Last year was with Watch Dogs, this year is with The Division. The Division is a third-person shooter, I'd almost say MMO-esque game, where you are in a city that has been struck by a major disaster, where you accept quests that are generated by the game. So it's more of a dynamic kind of quest system, where like you could hear on the radio that the police station is being attacked. You can go attack the police station and raid the armory to get new guns and items.
Very true. And go ahead, sorry.
One of the other major aspects of this game is also how it's bringing in probably one of the bigger tablet integrations I've seen so far, where someone can log in with their tablet and join your group as a UAV that is also a support and attack platform.
Right, and there has been a lot of news about the UAV mechanics in the game. People are kind of looking at this like, all right, cool, you're a guardian angel. You can mark targets, you can heal people, give them buffs. You can call down an airstrike. So awesome. Anyway, but one thing they're thinking of is, what happens when the UAV's out of our group? Because what they're thinking is this is going to be a troll mechanic where people could just leave the group, and while you're extracting out and waiting there, they can call an airstrike down on you. Yeah, I know, fun. Ubisoft has also said that they are working on the mechanic of that to try to limit the trolling that would be possibility.
Probably cooldowns on some abilities and whatnot, or maybe you have to be in a group to function properly, because if not, then you're just going to have hundreds of UAVs flying around the open world.
Right. I airstrike you. I win.
I would assume the way it would work would be you join a group. Well, for one, the way I would have it, I don't know if they're going to do this. They're probably not. Is you would have to have like a UAV in like a stash or warehouse somewhere, like ready to, because it's kind of unrealistic. UAVs just flying everywhere, but They join the group, they help you out, and when they leave, they would go back to their like hangar zone, I guess, where they're stored, and then you can't control it anymore. That's the way I would guess. That's the way I would make it work. I don't know how Ubisoft is gonna make it work, but that would make sense. Like you have to have it stored somewhere, and then you can pull it out. It goes back after you're done.
Just as a tip for just starting though, I would say stay away from unfamiliar UAVs. They might get you.
Don't touch them.
Don't touch
Stranger danger.
Okay, so that's the UAV and the mechanics like that. But let's get into the meat of what the game actually is. From my understanding, the game is a third-person shooter that takes place more in an RPG aspect, where you gather points as you level up throughout the game. You can spend them in things like better grenades or different shooting patterns or stuff like that, and you collect weapons as you go that have different stats on them. Correct?
Yeah, so you also got options for turrets, and you can also heal and buff your teammates. It kind of gives everybody, and you can actually change these skills on the fly from what I've seen. And that, say your squad needs a healer, you can actually, switch over to healer, turret, and maybe sniper rifle and be a complete support character for your team in that given situation.
Now, do you think a game like this will fall back on the holy trinity of MMOs, which is DPS, tank, and healer, or will it try to diversify itself by giving everyone their own bid for healing, like Guild Wars 2 does?
I think that's a rough question. I haven't had enough actual exposure to it to say that. I would say, since it's a skill-based MMO, I think healing would be more of an optional if, you're going to get them.
The overall better strategy would be to not be shot as opposed to
That's always a better strategy. Oh my god.
As much as you want to collect as many bullets in your body as possible, you should not.
True.
With the healer thing, another question would be, how would that mechanic fit into the way the game is supposed to work? Because it's supposed to be in a modern kind of day scenario. You don't have just, here's a healing spell and you're at max HP. How would it be like medkits, do you think? You can't apply those long range then, so you would have to be right next to the person that's under fire to heal them.
I think for the mechanics of the game, it's going to be quote unquote magic.
Magic.
Oh, it's magic in modern day. Oh no, it's all gone.
Oh no.
Lightning bolt. Fire.
That would be something to have a look at and see how they're going to integrate that. Because if it's in modern day, you'd have to run up to them, bandage them, insert medkits, have medkits. That would be the modern day way of going about it.
I need a medkit here.
Basically. Doctor!
Well, and just like in Battlefield anything, like people lay down the medkit and you just sit there and shoot while you're being healed. It's like, no one's really over the top of you bandaging you. You know what I'm saying? That's magic.
That's actually changed in 4. You can't really do that anymore.
There's also a reason that you're not going to have that happen. It's just, I guess that's just the way to make the mechanics work in the game so people aren't pissed about it. But who knows?
Right.
We'll find out more as more information is released throughout the year. Maybe we'll see something at TGS this year.
I got this vision in my head now of one guy shooting while someone's trying to patch bullet holes in him. Like, we only got an hour, sir. I know.
We just bandage you. Oh, I'm firing this gun. Ah!
New game idea. Somebody come out with that. You have to bandage for an hour before you can shoot again. You get hit once, you're down, and you got to bandage for another hour. Horrible game.
Best game 2014.
Now, we should probably think about how this is going to come into StandPoint Gaming. How are we going to make this a game for StandPoint Gaming?
Well, here's what we're going to do with that. We are going to try to collect people. And if you are listening to us, we're talking to you. Yes, you. Not you. Your face. The one, Anyway, we're going to try to recruit for maybe a future with the game, because I find that, yes, playing the game, you get more people, but to actually get a great structure going, you build the foundation before the game comes out.
Yeah, because once you have that brickwork in place, it's much easier to slide people in, as opposed to, trying to say, I want to start this community today.
Right. I've done that before. It's awful.
Shots in the dark.
I know all about shots in the dark. Haha.
Shots fired. Shots fired.
Hi, hey. Moan's made. Moan's made.
Okay.
Anyway.
Yeah. So the Division slated to come out sometime 2014, probably later than earlier. Maybe shoot for November or something, but hopefully it doesn't have a case of Watch Dogs and gets pushed back to 2015. That would be kind of depressing.
I was kind of looking at that like, this might happen. It might get pushed back.
To be perfectly honest, I would rather have a game be pushed back than come out half-baked.
True. Very true.
Because then you have things like PlanetSide 2.
Yeah. And, I mean, as much hype as they're building, they have to knock it out of the ballpark.
Well, that's the thing, is all of the hype for the Division is really community-generated.
Right.
Ubisoft really hasn't done anything to generate hype over the Division.
They just released an E3 video that was awesome.
Yeah, the Division is just generating its own hype, basically. It doesn't need any help. The community is doing it for them.
True. Very true.
Alright, so with that, we've talked about Call of Duty Ghost, the Terraria a little bit, and we've ended up talking about the Division. So, any closing statement, guys? Anything else you'd like to add in?
Well, yeah.
Where can our fabulous listeners go to join StandPoint Gaming and its wonderful Division nest?
They can go to www.standpointgaming.com, and if you'd like to harass me personally, you can go to ts.standpointgaming.com.
Yep, just find whatever channels Foro's in and pile in.
Right, that's it. That's a recording, because that's business.
That's us making this wonderful show.
Yeah. Business before pleasure. Sometimes.
Sometimes. Not for you. So stay tuned in next week, and we'll be talking about WildStar and how we're going to implement it into our wonderful StandPoint Gaming. Our experiences with Saints Row 4 and its absolute hilariousness. And we'll be speaking about Watch Dogs and its unfortunate delay, but how much we would really want it right now. So this has been the StandPoint Gaming Podcast, and I bid you adieu.